Attend the revival tonight. Didn't get to listen to some of it because of you guys putting it online, and it was good. And since I found out you don't care for a preacher standing an hour, so just sit back and enjoy it. No, I'm just kidding. You can get by preaching an hour in a revival, but in a church service where you have a captive congregation, you kind of got to be a little bit lenient on them, don't you? I want to talk to you just a moment, and I'm not going to stand very long. I want to ask you a couple of questions. You can answer me if you want to. If you don't, you can look at me like I did most preachers when they ask questions. What do you say? How are you saved? And saved by grace, and what else? Faith. Now this seems simple enough, doesn't it?
Amen.
We're saved by faith through grace. It's a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast. Let's go back a little bit and look at Abraham. The Bible says that Abraham was accounted, his belief in God, he was accounted to him for faith.
That's right.
And his faith was given as righteousness, whereby sin was not imputed unto him.
Right.
The word imputed means giving a value. Sin, in other words, when Abraham moved by his belief in God, it was shown his faith.
Yeah.
And Abraham was blessed with faith 24 years before he ever moved on. God gave him the action of circumcision. But God had faith even before then. And my question to you today is, how does faith produce action, or does action produce faith? Now, Abraham had faith before he moved with an action, didn't he? And I had, over the years, from the time I was about 11 years old, God dealt with my heart. I believed in God. I had faith that there was a God. I knew with all my heart there was a God. But it took a long time for me to move on that action. It took about 7 years, in other words, for me to let my faith in God produce an action. And what I'm trying to say is sometimes we have a lot of belief. Now, had I died in that condition without making my profession of faith, where would I be? The Bible says we have to make a profession of faith. So, we have to believe in our heart and confess with our mouth.
Amen.
Half of the works is no good, but yet I'm not saved by works. I'm saved by grace.
Amen.
Through faith. And I'm not trying to confuse you here, but I'm trying to get you to understand that our faith produces the works that comes in our life. Our works does not produce the faith. We can go to church our entire life and die lost. We can sing in the choir, Brother John, and die lost. We can even teach Sunday school, die lost. We can go around testifying to everybody and die lost. Just because that we have not moved on our actions, we have to let someone, I believe, see what we believe. We can, and I know, listen, I'm following behind the car. This morning, I went over to see Lou, and I was a little bit late coming. I was following the car, and they had signs all over their car about people being blessed, and I'm a Christian, and all of these different signs, and that's wonderful. But, you know, there was something on there that struck my mind as really funny. In the midst of all that, there was one big bumper sticker that stood out that said the awfulest things that I've ever heard. And I thought, you know, I wonder which one of those signs are true. Isn't it a shame? I know I was reading a story, I know it's a little bit comical, but it's true. And this woman evidently was a lot like me at a traffic signal in Lexington. I lose just about all of my Christianity when I'm there. And the light turns green and they're sitting there on Facebook or texting or whatever. And two cars get through and I'm the third one. And I get stopped another 10 minutes. But this policeman had pulled this woman over, and she said, "Why are you pulling me over?" And he said, "Well, I thought this car was stolen." And she said, "What make you believe that?" And he said, "Well, I noticed sitting behind this guy at the traffic light, you were making some obscene gestures, and you were making some of the awful sounds and cursing every breath, and on the back of your car it said, 'Proud to be a Christian.'" He said, "I figured this car was stolen." But there's a lot of truth in that, isn't there?
Amen. A lot of truth.
There's a lot of truth in it. It's not everyone that saith, "Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of God," but they that do the will of my Father.
Blessed Father.
And so I began to read in Hebrews. I love to read Hebrews about the faith that each of these men had. And it talked about Abraham having faith. It talked about Isaac having faith. It talked about Jacob having faith. It talked about Moses having faith. It talked about all of these other people having faith. And that's wonderful. But how did he prove they had faith? Because of their actions.
Amen. That's right.
Is that not true? Do our actions not prove our faith? And our faith prove our actions? I always hated algebra, Brother Esther. Algebra was one of the awful subjects I ever took. I could take biology, I took a lot of other math courses, I didn't have a problem, but I didn't like algebra. And this guy said, "Why don't you like algebra? You get all of the answers correct." And I said, "Yes, I do. But what I don't like about algebra, I can work the problem and get the answer, but I can't prove it. You had to prove how you got the answer." But Jeff, I didn't like that because I could get the answer, but I couldn't prove it. See, faith proves what we really believe. Does it not?
It does.
Does not faith produce inside of us and testify of us who we really are?
It does. Amen.
Did it not do that to Abraham? When Abraham said, "Yes, I believe the promise you made, God," and it went 24 years before God ever gave him a sign, and he still had faith, and it produced an action. Which was circumcision. I don't want to get into the circumcision, there's too much time. But every time that you read about these men, Isaac was blessed because he had Jacob and Esau. God continued to make the promises real, and the men believed them long before it was ever produced. But it didn't weaken their faith. Bless the Lord. Many of us have our faith weakened in a trial, don't we?
Yes, we do.
I've thought about Brother Jeff sitting here with prostate cancer, Sister Melissa with breast cancer. And you talk to them, and many others of you that have the trials of your faith. And James said the trying of your faith works as what? God sends us through the fire sometimes to see what we're made of. And to prove His worthfulness and His faithfulness in what He was doing. Can you imagine how Moses, even though he had faith, and God said, "Moses, go down and get my children up out of Egypt," and he went down in God's Word, and when he went in and he told Pharaoh, Pharaoh said, "I'm not going to let you go." And Moses kept going back. And finally it got to the point where the people he was trying to deliver him turned on him. They said, "Moses, you're killing us. We used to be able to make brick and they provided everything. Now we got to get our own straw and our own mud. You're killing us." But Moses never staggered at that. He said, "God sent me here for a purpose." Each time that Moses, I can't imagine how he must have felt. Can you imagine? God, I had faith in you, and I did what you said, and every time I go, something goes wrong. But he never staggered at that. Abraham didn't stagger at faith.
Amen.
And we're not going to stagger if our faith is in God. If it's in ourselves, we've lost everything. If our faith doesn't produce the actions in us, then we're not what we profess to be.
Amen. That's right.
You can find out what a man's really made of when he gets in a bind.
Amen.
There was a man, you may have heard me tell this story, and I'll try to hurry him. I had the utmost confidence in this man, and I'm not judging him. I don't know how his soul stood with God. But I thought that man, if ever anybody lived in the shadow of the cross, that man did. Until one day, as a young man, I was walking by his car, and someone had stolen his jack. He had a flat. I didn't understand the frustration. But I never heard such filth thrown out of a man's mouth in all my life. And I thought, boy, that sure surprises me. I wonder sometimes if we leave the wrong impression. Sometimes do we say we have things that we really don't have? But Clifford, you've seen it. I know Brother Esther's seen it. I've seen it. There was one guy, he would come to church. I know that he wanted to do right, but he just couldn't. He didn't have his faith in the right spot.
Amen.
He was trusting in maybe me or the church or his actions or what he felt like he could do within himself. But none of us can do anything. None of us can accomplish anything. None of us can save ourselves without faith in God. And this man would come in and he'd come to the altar and he'd tell me he was saved and he'd say, I want to be baptized. I baptized that man 5 times. I told him, I said, son, the church is not a saloon. It doesn't have swinging doors. You need to make things right with God and set it in your heart that God's going to produce in you the fruit that's supposed to be produced by a Christian.
Amen.
One day he did the same thing, right in the dead of winter. And it was cold. There was about probably at least 6 inches of ice on the creek. And he said, I want to be baptized. I said, okay. He said, you don't care? I said, no, I don't mind. And so me and this other brother goes out and we jump up and down on the ice and we break a big hole through and I sink into the water about here and it takes my breath and we keep pushing down on the ice and sliding over and making a hole big enough. And he walks out and he said, I'm so sorry for this. I said, you will be. He said, what do you mean? I said, I only went into the water up to my chest. You're going all the way under. But I said, listen, son, it doesn't matter if the water's cold or warm. If you don't mean what you're doing, you are wasting your time. You are not, it does means nothing. You could be baptized, as they used to say, until every crawl out of the creek knows you were your first name, and you still won't be saved. Faith in God produces the act of baptism. Amen. Baptism does not produce the act of faith.
Amen. That's right.
You've got to be saved before you go to the water.
That's right. Amen.
Baptism is the answering of a good conscience, the proof that you believe in God. Our proof, as they always said, proof's in the pudding. And so the Bible teaches me that Moses, Isaac, Abraham, Jacob, all of these had faith and it produced in them the actions that they had. I remember I let God down one time. I'll never forget that. It impressed my heart. I've let him down many times, but I know this time. I'd gone through a particularly tough time with one of my family members. They were in jail. Broke my heart. I took them and turned them in. And I asked the sheriff, I said, can I take them to the jailhouse? You can follow me. He said, I believe you'll do it. I said, I'm a man of my word. And I took them and turned them in. And as they walked around that corner to go into that jail cell, I walked outside and I cried till I threw up. And I looked up, it was cold that evening, early in the winter. And I looked up at the stars and I said, God, where are you? Where are you? Boy, I'm in. My faith had been shaken to the core last. And then all at once it hit me and I said, I've been right here beside you. Do you think that you could have taken your loved one to the sheriff and turned them in by yourself? I gave you that courage. You think you could have taken them to the jailhouse and turned them in? I gave you that courage. You're trusting me for what they need. I said, okay, God, I'm sorry I didn't even ask that question. See, God don't care if you ask the question. God doesn't care if your faith gets shaken. It can be proven by that. your faith in God. Now, as I said, I'm not going to get into circumcision, but I want to ask you this one question. Many of you here know that your faith has been shaken, but it's never been uprooted if you're right with God.
That's right.
If you're not, I've seen it happen too many times. Until you're tried in the fire, your faith means nothing to you. But you read the 11th chapter of Hebrews to see what these guys went through. Did getting thrown in the lion's den, did that produce faith in Daniel? Or was it the faith that put him in there and it proved his faith? Oh, I know that Daniel had faith because they told him not to pray and he did. They told him they'd throw him in the lion's den and he prayed anyway because he knew that God was able to deliver him. But if not, we know that no matter what happens, God is in control.
Amen.
He's always in charge.
Amen.
Now, somebody told me one time, and I'm going to come to close to this. They said, I don't understand why such bad things happen to the people of God. And I said, who said it was bad? I mean, look at Joseph. Joseph had been sold into slavery, and he was there for years, and God blessed him, and he got up in a position, and he was living good, and then all at once, Potiphar's wife accused him of something that he didn't do, and he wound up back in jail, and while he was there, God blessed him, and the people that he told them what was going to happen to them, when they got out, he told them, said, just remember me, and they forgot him. Can you imagine how hard his faith was tried? But yet he never staggered at the promises of God. That's what I want to come to right now. Never stagger at the promises of God. When God looks at you and you know in your heart that God has produced something in you, don't deny it.
Right.
You have children and you give them to God, don't worry about it. God's going to take care of them. You've got to have faith.
That's right.
Now, I'm not saying you should never worry. I mean, worry is the interest you pay on a debt you don't know, but that's all right. If you want to worry, you can. But listen, don't ever think you can take better care of them than God. Don't think that you can get them saved if God's not dealing with them. You can't. You can't get yourself saved. But don't stagger at those promises. When God tells you something, you believe it. You take it to the bank. You know that, now I know James says when we ask amiss and we consume it on our own lust. If God has a purpose in your life and He takes you to that purpose, know this, God's in control. He's going to take care of you. Now, having said all that, I'm going to come to a close and I'm going to ask you to do this. As they get them a song, I know today that we are faced with things in life that's tough. But the trying of your faith worketh patience, and patience hope, and hope maketh not ashamed.
That's right.
Now what is hope? Well, I kind of hope that if there's anybody in here rich and you're going to put me in your will at the top of the list, and I'm going to get everything you got. Now that's just a wish. Hope is the absolute faith that what God has promised, He's going to do.
Amen.
Hope is not like hoping I get this big present at Christmas. No, that's just a wish. Hope is the confidence you have in God that He's going to produce what He said He would produce. I believe that with all my heart. And I know God is able. Now, let's do this song. And let me say this to you. If your faith has been shaken because of something going on in your life, and I'm not pointing this at anyone, if God is directing this at you, I invite you right now to come to the